feminine case for feminine things, such as the compass, lipstick, comb, and mirror, but also a few other additions, such as the calling or dance card holder, pillbox, a space for money, or a handkerchief, a cigarette case, often with a lighter on the side, and a hidden clock. This way, the not always acceptable habit of a woman smoking could be concealed yet accessible, and one could check the time via a sliding door or push button. The object and name miniature, based on the verb miniaudiere, meaning to use, affected manners such as the flattering, were patented in 1930 in the affectionate honor of Estelle van Cleef, who was said to have charming social miniaudieres. It was a feat both from a design and technological perspective to fit all of these well-made objects into a portable jewel box-like clutch, often set with a jeweled clasp, and sometimes held in a satin frame. Among Van Cleef and Arpels' numerous technical successes in jewelry, the most significant achievement remains the certimystolux, or mystery setting, first used for miniature and patented in 1933. This technique features stones grooved to set in the T-rail channels made of gold, which is more supple than platinum, and marvel of design and technique. And the setting was at first only viable on the flat surfaces of boxes and then flat section of jewelry. It continued to evolve onto more difficult curved surfaces, allowing Van Cleef and Arpels jewelers to create voluptuous shapes that place all of the attention on the stones themselves. Highly skilled craftsmen and gemstone specialists are needed to ensure not only that all the stones are exactly the right color, but also cut exactly to fit the channels. Emeralds are particularly difficult to use since they are softer, and the first cutting methods risk damage when the grooves are created. And since it is extremely challenging to find green emeralds with a sufficient saturation and matching of color, Van Cleef and Arpels has continuously refined the mystery setting to enable new methods, holding the setting in place on curved surfaces, and door and screw mounts on the back placed at intervals for inserting the polished and grooved stones. In 1990, groundbreaking cutting methods enabled Van Cleef and Arpels to add diamonds for the first time to the mystery setting. And that same year, the hexagonally cut mystery setting was added to the repertoire. Nonetheless, the fundamental concept of not revealing any of the settings support creates the resulting effect of solid faceted color, much like a micro mosaic. In fact, mosaics have been cited as an inspiration for the mystery setting. It seems especially likely that the parures and brooches set with micro mosaic plaques based on antiquity, which became popular in the late 18th century and were still evident in 1900, suggested that concept. Like the serpent chain, the zip necklace, bracelet is multifunction and a splendid technological feat. First conceived around 1939 by the Cleef and Arpels designer René Sim-Lacaze and the Duchess of Windsor, who proposed a piece of jewelry that actually zipped. The zip necklace with functional zipper like a mechanism, did not appear until 1951. In these intervening years, the zipper became a permanent fixture on clothing. But French jewelry production and designs were brought to a near standstill by World War II. What was an avant-garde fashion statement of the late 1930s, when clothing designers intentionally showed off the newly created zipper as visible parts of attire, turned into an avant-garde piece of jewelry some 14 years later. Due to its technical prowess, another Van Cleef and Arpels innovation was the bracelet known as the Ludo, a nickname for Louis Arpels, honored through this design, the first of which appeared in the late 1920s. A bracelet with a buckle closure. It was developed in a number of iterations, and its wristband developed in various ways. All of the bracelet incorporated a buckle-like element as the decorative focus. Some started with various gemstones. The early versions were usually simple buckles, but with the enthusiasm for bolder and more jeweled designs, the buckles became more dominant. They could incorporate mystery set stones after the jewelers had mastered the art of the curve for this technique. They could even incorporate watches under the curve. One of the most technically challenging bands was the extremely versatile honeycomb band, developed in the late 1930s, formed of a flat interlocking hexagonal elements designed for suppleness. Subsequent elaborations included in each section a starburst hole into which a diamond or ruby could be set.